Hello, twisted humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is
Twisted and Uncorked.
I think I've been watching too much Big Bang Theory. I was acting like Bowie.
I love that. That's a great show. I haven't seen like the newest seasons, but it is a really great show. I was thinking
We're
like
on season 8.
Okay.
9. We're on season 9.
I think the last season I watched was season 8. So when Penny and Leonard get married.
Yeah.
It's a good show. I love that show. I'm just nerdy in general. Me and Kevin have been watching Trailer Park Boys. So
fun.
It is funny. I thought it was the stupidest show ever, but as I've been watching it, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. And it was filmed in Canada.
Did you watch Letterkenny?
I've never watched Letterkenny, but I've heard a lot of references to it. So I'll definitely have to watch that at some point.
That's a Canadian one too.
Yeah. But I laugh because Ricky says everything incorrectly, like all of his idioms. So when you said less crap, I was like... So yeah, welcome to Twisted and Uncorked. Sierra's surviving. I'm here. She's not drinking wine with me today because she can't taste it, and there's no point at that point.
Yeah. Before we get to wine, do you have a fun fact?
I do have a fun fact. My fun fact is about Victoria, because today I am telling you 2 haunted cases that take place there. And as many of our listeners know, that is where I was born and grew up, so in light of this, I'm telling you a few fun facts about the city. So the waters surrounding Victoria are home, also known as Vancouver Island, are home to 5 species of whales. So whenever I ride the ferry back and forth, I almost always see orcas, which is kind of cool.
That is so cute.
Yeah, it's awesome. The Empress Hotel, also haunted, but not what we're talking about today, serves more than 500,000 cups of tea per year. They have a little tea time that you can join and be fancy if you so desire. Victoria's Chinatown is the oldest in Canada and is the second oldest in all of North America. The first oldest is in San Francisco. Cruise ships bring in around 600,000 visitors per year. So if Kevin had taken the old spaghetti factory in Victoria, he would have been busy because it's right down where the cruise ships dock. The city itself was founded by the Hudson's Bay Company. Over 1 million people visit Butchart Gardens every year, and that's like a famous like garden center. It's beautiful. They monitor it all year round. And I grew up in a home up the street from Butchart Gardens, so on Saturdays when they would do the firework display, we could see it from our balconies. So that's fun. It is beautiful. I would really recommend it. It kind of sucked that they wouldn't let us take any wedding photos in there, but whatever. Because I also got married at my aunt and uncle's house, so... But yeah, that is my fun fact. Tell me yours.
I'm going to use this one. I like this one a lot. I found this on, I don't know, somebody's Instagram, some witchy Instagram. This is the potato healing benefits. You know, I like me some potatoes.
Yes! Everybody shits on potatoes. Give it to me.
Just so you know, potatoes are antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. They keep the liver grounded and stable. They're abundant in L-lysine, which inhibits viruses that cause chronic illness. Also, L-lysine helps with cold sores if you get cold sores. I literally take L-lysine pills, like 500 milligram tablets daily just so that I don't get cold sores. Did not know potatoes would help with that.
Fun fact.
Potatoes also help the brain and the kidney, fights chronic illness. It's good for healing the intestinal tract. It helps stabilize blood sugar, and it soothes the nerves and helps with stress. Definitely helps me with stress.
Yeah, I was going to
love me
say.
some potatoes, and I'm always stressed. So,
So guys, go eat some fucking potatoes. That's awesome.
enjoy them steamed without oil, butter, or cream for maximum healing benefits, but with oil, butter, and cream for maximum deliciousness.
I was just thinking, I was like, that sounds horrible. Speaking of potatoes, have you seen that viral video of the guy that like takes his girlfriend's like face wash bar of soap and carves a potato into it? She's like, why did you shave my soap, you weirdo? If anybody has not watched it,
laughing. It's a potato. Oh god.
If anybody has not watched it, the week that this episode is released, I'll share it on our Instagram, so go check that out.
Oh man, it's hilarious.
So potatoes, guys.
Potatoes.
And you know what else goes good with all types of potatoes? Wine.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody judge how full this glass is. It's been a fucking week, okay? We're just gonna leave it at that.
You get to drink for the both of us.
I do. There we go. That's what I'm doing. I'm being a team player. And today we are drinking. I don't have a wine fact. I'm just going to read you the bottle because it made me laugh.
Okay.
So this winery is called Rigmarole. It is located in the Okanagan Valley in BC. And so the bottle says, "Why is it such a rigmarole to simply find a great dry white? The puzzling complexity of terrier, oak aging, vintages, and those ridiculous descriptors is just too much. Save that mental energy for pondering whether a barnacle goose born on a tree is considered a fruit, a nut, or a bird." And it is a nut, by the way. I had to Google that to figure out what the fuck this joke was all about. And this one is a blend between Riesling and Gewürztraminer, and a Viognier. So it's a sweeter wine, yet really light and easy to drink. I just thought this was a really cute little, like, eclectic, whimsical bottle.
I'm a little jealous that you chose to drink that one when I'm not drinking. Because it sounds delicious.
We're gonna drink it again, don't worry. Anyways, spooky story time.
Spooky story time.
The first place that I'm telling you guys about today is called Ross Bay Cemetery. I would like to give a shout out to my dad. He was the one that recommended it. I had walked by Ross Bay Cemetery a million times, but cemeteries are kind of creepy, and, you know, I kind of wanted to avoid them as a kid. My morbid sense of curiosity now really wants to go, and I'll show you pictures here. It's like the prettiest cemetery ever. It's ridiculous.
Aww.
So, Ross Bay Cemetery is one of the most historical and haunted locations in all of Victoria, BC. Since 1873, the 27 acres of land have been a designated burial site for citizens of Victoria, and it contains many famous figures such as Emily Carr. Have you heard of Emily Carr? She's a painter.
It sounds familiar.
Sir James Douglas, which was BC's first governor. Coal Baron Robert Dunsmuir, who built Craigdarragh Castle in Victoria, and it's another haunted location that I'll cover at some point. And Billy Barker, who discovered the gold at Barkersville, to name a few. Despite its morbid purpose, Ross Bay Cemetery is considered a beautiful place for a stroll, and it is visited by many tourists and locals daily. There's breathtaking ocean views, intricate pillars, and a magnificent mausoleum laced with twists of carriageways and towering trees, just to name some of the charming features. And I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a creepy picture and then a pretty picture. And I do have photos that I'm going to post of, like, orbs and, like spirit mist, I'm going to call it, on, like, clear nights that have been captured, which is kind of creepy. Spirit
Super
mist.
creepy.
It's a new term.
A technical term. Ooh.
Super pretty though, right? So creepy.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, look at that.
I liked
deer.
this one because there's a deer in it, and there's deer all over Victoria. So But, like, all of the, like, it's, like, really crammed together, kind of like the headstones in New Orleans. Like, it's just kind of all mishmashed together.
Yeah.
But very pretty. Everything creepy in life comes from the 1800s, let's face it. The cemetery is actually locked at night nowadays and has guards that patrol the area to keep those curious about the hauntings out. My parents were two of those curious teens that tried to go into Ross Bay Cemetery at night. After years of blood-curdling screams, sightings of ghosts, and police being called, the city thought it would just be better to have it only open during the day. The only exception is during the month of October when there's Halloween walking tours. Originally, the Victorian-style burial ground was owned by Isabella Ross. She was born on January 10th, 1808, and Isabella's father was a French-Canadian who spent his life working for the Hudson's Bay Company. He married Josette, an Ojibwe woman. Now, if you would like to hear a little bit more about the Hudson's Bay Company, as well as a little bit more about a haunted town near me, go check out our November Patreon bonus episode about Fort Langley. For more information on that, go to patreon.com/twisted-and-uncorked. Thanks! When Isabella was 14 years old, she married Charles Ross at the Hudson's Bay Company fort. Isabella and Charles had 9 children together, because that's also what you do in the 1800s. You just have a bunch of fucking children. 5 boys and 4 girls. John, Walter, Elizabeth, Charles, Catherine, Alexander, Francis, Mary, and Flora. In 1843, Isabella and Charles moved to Fort Victoria on Vancouver Island as the Hudson's Bay Company shut down its post at Fort McMillan. The move effectively made Charles the chief trader in command of the fort. So they became the first Métis family to reside there, and they established Fort Victoria as an important post of the fur trade, which is what I mentioned above. Victoria was established during the Hudson's Bay Company. Shortly after this move, Charles died on June 27th, 1844. After his death, Isabella and her family moved to Fort Nisqually and settled there for 8 years. Isabella then returned to Fort Victoria in 1854. She bought 99 acres of land, which in turn established her as the first female registered landowner in British Columbia. She turned this land into a farm which she called Fowl Bay Farm. So, badass woman. Not only is she indigenous, but she is a woman, and she is the first landowner in British Columbia. Go her.
Nice.
In 1863, Isabella married again, this time to Lucas Simon O'Brien, but they divorced later that same year, which is part of her history. Isabella died on April 23rd, 1885, at the age of 77 years old. Her epitaph reads, "Here lies Isabella Mainville Ross, born January 10th, 1808. She died in Victoria, April 23rd, 1885. Came here in 1443 with her husband, chief trader Charles Ross, who was in charge of building Fort Victoria. After his death, she bought the land upon which you are standing on for a farm. By doing so, she became the first woman to own land in what is now British Columbia. Now, Isabella's family members own the Ross Bay Cemetery now, and they are trying to curb the common belief that the cemetery is named Ross Bay Cemetery because of Charles, her husband. They're trying very much to be like, no, like, she was a fucking badass. It's hers. She was the one that bought it. So, now, Isabella owning this land, like I said, was a feat for a number of reasons. 1, she was an indigenous woman, and 2, she was a female in the 1800s, so her owning a piece of land of this size was unknown. While it was still a farm, Isabella's son, Alexander, passed away, and he was buried on the land in 1835, so long before she died. His was the first of many graves that would soon lie there. And all of the graves from the 1800s are marked with a special cross. So when you walk around, you can like look for them too. They also planted a lot of trees along the sea line because of ocean spray and salt. It was eroding some of the older headstones, so they were trying to preserve them as much as they could, including Alexander's. There are nearly 30,000 graves in the cemetery, with the discovery of 270 unused plots in recent years, which had been auctioned off for quite a bit of money. Needless to say, each grave holds its own piece of Victoria's history, and you could spend an entire day exploring the somber beauty of this cemetery. And Sierra and I will definitely go one day and take a shit ton of photos, because it's really pretty. Now, let's talk about the ghosts. Isabella is often seen standing at the edge of the water, looking out over the ocean, her long dark hair flowing in the wind. Those that have come across her don't usually feel threatened or scared. They feel a sense of peace come over them. People have called out to her or even walked close enough to her to catch her attention. If you do, she'll turn towards you, smile slightly, and then disappear. It's just like, even if you feel a sense of peace, that's still really unsettling.
Yeah.
She is seen mostly at the age she probably felt her best, looking about early to mid-30s. Sometimes, another unidentified lady, dressed in all white, has been seen wandering up and down the pathways. She usually takes the same paths on the southeast side of the cemetery. Historians and ghost hunters alike have worked to try and figure out the name of this woman, studying the graves in that area, but no one's gotten close enough to the spirit to identify any facial features. And obviously, with 30,000 graves, there's quite a few women buried in that area. When she picks up that someone is there, she'll walk a few steps and then vanish. The ghosts of a couple dressed in Victorian clothing have also been sighted, walking hand in hand like many of the couples that visit the graves during the day. It is believed that the man is Harry D. Helmkin, as the couple usually disappear when they walk up to his mausoleum. People that have come across them read them as friendly, and Harry even tips his hat to the people as he walks, which is just frickin' wholesome. Any man that tips his hat at you is wholesome. Just saying. A young, frantic-looking woman has startled a few nightly visitors, appearing suddenly from behind headstones and darting around the tombstones looking for someone, calling out for a, quote, Peter. The panic in her voice and the way that she crouches around, looking around, makes people think that this person might be her child. No one knows who this woman is either. Another ghost that is often sighted in the cemetery is that of David Fee. On Christmas Eve at Victoria's St. Andrew's Cathedral, which is located across the street from Ross Bay Cemetery, in 1890, just before midnight, the Latin carols in praise of the Catholic midnight mass were suddenly shattered by the sound of a small explosion on the street. A group of worshippers rushed outside to investigate and there saw David Fee, a pool of blood spreading around his motionless form. A hole torn in his chest, the gun blast had been so close to him that it had covered him in powder burns.
Jesus.
Who fucking murders someone on Christmas Eve? That's just rough.
Sadly, it happens a lot.
I know. David had left the church only moments before and had been on his way to another Christmas party. It was to this party that bystanders carried his bloodied form in order to get it out of the night's driving rain. I know it's 1890 and I know it was in good faith, but they still disrupted a crime scene. So don't move bodies if you come across them, people. David died at the age of 28, still clad in festive costume, a child's toy trumpet around his neck. His funeral, held only days later, would be one of the most attended in Victorian history. This wasn't a crime of passion or a robbery gone wrong. As prosecutors would soon argue, David had unwittingly gotten himself caught in a case of political murder and had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. There is no doubt as to who fired that fatal shot. The murderer had given himself up almost immediately. Just before 2 a.m. that same evening, a sleeping constable at the city's police barracks was shaken awake by a young man of medium build with an Irish accent. Quote, "I am the man that shot a man tonight," declared 33-year-old Lawrence Fellin to the groggy officer. And that's a PH, not an F, even though that's an ironic last name. Investigators were able to recover the murder weapon within minutes. The Victoria police chief had been at the church at the time of the murder and had heard the shot himself. The gun, wet from the rain, was still warm at the barrel. It was quickly found abandoned at a nearby house. By the time that dawn broke on Christmas Day, the only thing missing was a motive. By all accounts, David was a model citizen, an active volunteer, a formal firefighter, and a well-liked socialite. Everybody had something good to say about him. He had no debts, no jilted lovers, and no mortal enemies, and yet he had seemingly been marked for death in a brazen killing, more in keeping up with the mob or some sort of terrorist assassination. They later learned that it was a political robbery gone wrong. Lawrence Fellin had shot the wrong guy. It is thought that David wanders around in the afterlife looking for his killer, and he was also buried in Ross Bay Cemetery. His is one of the special graves that have the 1800s marker. As for his killer, his sentence would be handed down by none other than Matthew Bailey Begbie, the so-called hanging judge. He basically sentenced everybody to hang that was guilty.
Who did the guy mean to shoot?
I don't know. We couldn't figure that out.
Crazy.
I know. Horrible. Begbie, the hanging judge, is also buried in Ross Bay Cemetery. Lawrence Fellin was publicly hanged for his crime later that same year.
Goodness gracious.
Whether you're there for... Right? It's just rough. Whether you're there for the beauty, the history, or the ghosts, or maybe a little bit of all three, Ross Bay Cemetery is a prominent piece of Victoria, BC, and is well worth the visit. Just not at night. They won't let you in. The second place that I will be telling you about will come up after this break. If you don't want to listen to ads or be a part of this ad break, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/twistedanduncorked for just $1 a month, and you can unlock some urban legends, some bonus episodes, some series recaps, and this coming month, Sierra and I have 2 new segments that will be released every week, so go check it out now. See you in a minute.
Hey Sierra, remember last week when I told you about that creepy man that followed me to 2 different locations after I went to pick up dinner?
Oh my god, yeah, so scary.
As creepy as that was, I felt much better because I had my She's Birdie personal alarm with me. If threatened, She's Birdie activates a loud 130 decibel siren and flashing strobe light to create a diversion and help ward off possible threats.
Wow. She's Birdie modern design comes in 8 pop colors, each with a solid brass keychain. She's a great companion on campus, on the trails, and out at night.
And we definitely like our nightlife. Each birdie is hand-tested and built to last. She turns on and off as needed and comes with replaceable batteries that last for 40 continual minutes. I don't think you'd ever need that, but it's nice to know you've got the replacement.
Definitely. That's so awesome. And I mean, obviously it sucks that us women have to deal with this and take these measures to stay safe, but I'm sure glad that I have my birdie when I'm out and about, just in case.
Right? Get yours today with our discount, Twisted10. That's Twisted10, all capitals, at checkout so they know our show sent you.
Keep it twisted and chirp proudly, ladies.
Okay, so spooky story number 2. The second place that I'll be telling you about is the Bent Mast Public House. I have been here myself a few times, and a friend of mine actually worked here at one point. The Bent Mast is a public house and restaurant located in James Bay, Victoria. It sits on a corner lot, and it is a heritage house that Victoria is proud to have. The history of the house is long and doesn't provide a whole lot of explanation for the hauntings that occur here. However, they still do. It is a Victorian 1.5-story home built in 1884 in James Bay, Victoria. The property has been a residential home, a brothel, an erotic art gallery, and 4 different restaurants over the years.
Sounds right.
Like, checks out. Both staff members and customers have felt and seen the ghosts that reside there. Today, the Bent Mast is part of a ghost tour in the month of Halloween, right along with Ross Bay Cemetery. So, you get to experience both today.
Nice.
But there are so many haunted places in Victoria. It's fucking wild.
Sounds like it. You're like, and I'll cover that one day, and I'll cover that
Yeah.
one day.
You're like, what the fuck is happening? I think this is why I'm haunted.
Yeah.
This is where I was born and raised, so naturally the world is like, we're just gonna keep her spooky forever. You're welcome. One source that I used referenced an account of a ghost of 2 children that loomed there often, but said that they gave off a pretty cheerful vibe. I mean, they are kids, so not always are ghost children sinister. An additional source said that they have seen a man in a red fedora sitting at the bar before disappearing if you go to interact with him at all. So the bar at the Bent Mast has 5 seats. It's a pretty small bar, so be easy to spot somebody that was maybe not real. Over the years, people visiting the home have felt dizzy. They felt pressure on their chests, and they felt as though they are being pushed to leave the home at all. The house was originally built for Lizzie and John Chandler, not to be confused with Chandler Bing. John had it built for his wife Lizzie, and they didn't ever make it their official forever home, which is really sad. And many spirit guides believe that this is why the house is haunted today, because it was never used for its intentional purpose. The reasons for this aren't clear, but speculations range from disputes with local youth, stolen chickens, a smallpox scare, and to Lizzie's dislike the back basement kitchen. So, you're privileged when.
Yeah.
John was an accountant and a bookkeeper, and Lizzie was a school teacher. The pair lived a good life and had 2 sons together. The Chandlers stayed on Wilkinson Road for a few years, and then moved to a small cottage behind the house while it was still being built. By 1900, John died in 1905 at the age of 62. Lizzie and her 2 sons continued to reside in the Wilkinson home, and Lizzie passed away there at the age of 63 in 1912. The 2 had been married for 42 years before passing. Many believe that the ghost of the matronly figure that is seen in the in the Bent Mast public house is Lizzie. Although she never actually lived in the home, this was meant to be her forever home with her family. She was a mother, and the house was gifted to her. It makes sense that she would seek to be there in the afterlife. The Chandler's sons sold the home that year after Lizzie died, and the home was purchased by another family and underwent a complete renovation after having 2 families there, even though one family never lived there. And as we all know, ghosts do not like when you renovate stuff. Leave it alone. George Phillips and his 3 children lived there between 1891 and 1995, and in between 1891 and 1895. In 1897, Frances Ann McConan and her 4 sons purchased the home. In 1911, Robert Cyrus and Margaret Moffat bought the house and lived there until the late 1940s. The belief is that the house changed hands as much as it did because it was haunted as shit and people didn't want to live there, kind of like the S-curve that I mentioned in our November Patreon bonus episode, where those 10 homes just constantly have for sale signs. Extensive renovation work was done in 1912 after they acquired the home, and they lived there until 1946, making them the longest family that lived there. At the time, this home was turned into a brothel, a popular place for the sailors that visited the island. Eventually, the establishment was turned into a restaurant in 1970 and has been 4 other restaurants before becoming the Bent Mast public house in 1995. Over the years, cutlery has been thrown across the kitchen and the restaurant. People have felt as though they are going to be pushed down the stairs. So like I said, it's a 2-story Victorian house. The bathrooms for the restaurant are upstairs, and some other seating plus the seating downstairs. So it's kind of unsettling if you've got to go up there to go to the bathroom.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, you're going to be pushed down the stairs. This location has been featured in several books about the hauntings of Victoria, with many accounts of what has happened there to various guests. A looming presence follows them through the hallway, upstairs, leading to additional seating, like I said. Doors will slam and people will feel as though they are not alone in the single occupancy washrooms. Myself, having been there, I drink a shit ton of water and pee a lot. So when I went upstairs to go to the bathroom, I have never peed and washed my hands so fast in my life. There was something in there that did not want me in there. I didn't enjoy it at all. No matter what the building has been used for and who has used it, the ghostly presence has never quite left.
I like to be spooked.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see a little.
So they put like a little patio area outside.
Cute.
It is a really cute
My
house.
face is
That's just
covering
a
it.
picture of the house. It's a cute little house. Like, it looks totally normal, nonchalant, not like it's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
And like I said, the bar area is tiny. So there's 5 bar stools that are there.
That is tiny.
That is the Bent Mast Public House. And those are my 2 little spoopy Victorian stops for you guys.
Fun.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Spoopy.
So one day when Sierra comes to visit me, we'll hop on the ferry and we'll go and do a haunted tour in Victoria.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
And visit with my crazy family. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a haunted location you want to hear covered at some point throughout our categories, please write in to twistedanduncorked@gmail.com. We want to know what you guys to hear, or any category for that matter. And if you like the show, please remember to leave a 5-star rating and review. It is the best way you can help us out. It is how other people are able to find us and what moves us around and all those chart things on the internet. Yes, that is a technical term also. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and check out our website, twistedanduncorked.com, for all of the source materials. And if you don't have a way of listening to our episodes, you can stream the episodes directly from there as well. So, and you can see
Which
some
I guess
spooky photos.
if you can't hear this, you can't get that information.
Fuck. Loophole.
They'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. They'll find us at some point. Tell your friends, tell your family. As we've said in previous episodes, yell at people in the street if you must. Don't lock them in your car to listen, though. That was a piece of advice previously. And we love you guys lots. We couldn't do the show without you, and we really appreciate you listening. And Sierra, what day is it today?
Is it Kuko? It is Kaylee Kuko's birthday today.
Kaylee Kuko. Yes, you are correct. Ooh, happy
the
birthday.
Big Bang Theory.
Hey, how
Since
perfect,
I've been
considering
binging
that
it.
we were talking about that at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, we started with Big Bang and we're ending with a Big Bang. Probably the way we'll all die as well. So,
Oh.
it's fun.
Why did you take it there? Jesus.
You know, we're all just gonna have the same fate as the dinosaurs.
True.
One day.
True enough. But until then, let that be a friendly reminder to take care of the fucking planet, guys. Come on, I'm eating out of a reusable Ziploc bag. Thanks, Mom.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, with that said, remember to keep listening, sharing, telling your friends about us. Keep watching The Big Bang Theory, because that's an excellent show. We will see you guys next week for a new episode. And in the meantime, keep it twisted.